Going to our phones, Alyssa Orange, sports director, Pig Trail Nation, joining us as usual on a Tuesday right about now. Good afternoon, Alyssa. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing well, and I cannot complain. I think any woman who is sitting in a chair getting her hair done can't complain. So that is what I'm doing right now.
It's fun figuring out where Alyssa's doing the show with us because last week it was on a golf course. Today it's in a hair salon. Next week, will it be pedicure, manicure? What do you think?
Well, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but I might be back on the East Coast for a funeral. Sorry.
Okay. So, yeah, I know you didn't mean to, but, those things do happen eventually. It's all right.
Yeah.
What do you think Arkansas right now? Would they lose to Auburn 9 straight games? I mean, can you?
Wow.
Hugh Freeze got to take his foot out of his mouth, but it's. I don't think he has the capability of not.
Yeah, it's just getting worse, I think, for Hugh. After the comments he made about his quarterback after the game and the running back after the game, and he had Bill Wallace come out and say what he said, and then he doubled down with that comment about if they played 9 more times, they'd win 9 more times, and that's the hard truth of the matter. And I understand that you think you have a good football team and you want to win football games, but you're getting a little unhinged, and it's blatantly obvious that there are some internal problems there in Auburn, and now they're getting exposed a little bit. So, maybe he can figure it out, and that's it. But yeah, it's not going too hot over there.
I don't know if he makes it through the season. I mean, I start looking at Auburn's schedule, Oklahoma, Georgia. I mean, they maybe could beat Oklahoma, but only if Oklahoma beats themselves. So, I mean, that's, they go 1-7, 0-8 in conference play. I just don't think you last very long at Auburn doing that.
Well, not the way that things are going right now. And if you're Auburn, and this is not a good look publicly. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing if you're doing a rebuild, but you're keeping it internally and you're kind of dealing with those things and the ups and the downs and the bruises as quietly as possible. But he's just being loud and obnoxious, and I don't necessarily think that's what Auburn wants right now from a public viewpoint. So I think you're right, even from that standpoint. Like, you can't just keep running your mouth like this and then losing.
Well, I mean, he was brought in as a hire that was supposed to be, the right culture. Been through Alabama, can recruit the South, guy that's from the South, knows how to say all the right things to the right people. But right now it's got a feeling of Brian Harsin all over again. And you know what it's like at Auburn? It's like it's different than Harsin. The Harsin wasn't recruiting. Freeze is. It's just he says all the wrong things, and eventually that hurts recruiting. But, that's the way that he speaks. Like Sam Pittman, I think, would have had chances last year to say those same things. Mm-hmm. Just referring to things going on in the locker room and everything. That's not how Sam talks, and I think fans appreciate that.
Well, yeah, absolutely. But go back to even last year when Auburn beat Arkansas handedly. What did Hugh Freeze say after the game? He said, we could have scored on every possession if we wanted to, and we took it easy on them. So even in wins, he can't keep his mouth shut.
Alyssa, I do want to ask you about Metcalf, number 18. What a performance. I mean, the dude it kind of reminded me of shades of like an old Honey Badger game when he was at LSU. I mean, what could you put that into words? What were your thoughts watching him play?
Man, I tell you what, I've gotten to know him and his brother Tevis since last summer and have done some stuff with them, and they are just awesome kids, really, really grounded. Their whole thing, obviously being born in Mississippi, but they're from Birmingham. That's where they grew up. That Metcalf name is so iconic at Ole Miss. DK Metcalf is their cousin. They have a family legacy there. Their dad played at Ole Miss, but they wanted to come to Arkansas and make their own mark. Like, that's really what they want. They want to make their own mark here at the university. They've been telling me that for months. And then to go back home to a place that didn't recruit you out of high school and to play the way that Tevis has played. And I know that he's always thought, I just need a chance. And he was, again, a guy that no one was talking about, and now everyone is talking about because he's had his opportunities, and he's a gamer. And so it was really exciting just to see the way that he's played, specifically at Auburn, and how impactful he was in that game for the defense. But even if you go back to the way that the year started, just flying out the ball. I mean, Sam Pittman said he's the best tackler they have back there in the secondary. And it's just really cool to see a kid like that who I know has put in the work, and this means so much to him to have that kind of success that he's wanted since he's gotten on campus. I mean, it's going to be really cool. Maybe in a year or two, we'll see both Metcalf and the secondary playing together side by side. But really, really proud of TJ and just excited to see his hard work come to fruition.
Here's Sam Pittman on how the Arkansas safeties have been playing.
TJ played a magnificent game. So did Slaughter. Slaughter was really, really good. Really good. Jaden came up and did a good job as well. We've got to get guys on the ground, a little bit more there with our secondary coming up and tackling. But Slaughter played outstanding. We just took a bad angle on the 4th and 3. If you said something defensively, it would be we can't give up explosive plays, and we gave up really 2 big ones in the game. And we can't afford to do that. But totality, they really played well, as you know. And I thought those safeties did a good job. If you play any defense and they have good safeties like Auburn did, if they have good safeties, it's hard to run the football and hard to throw the football. And I felt like we are getting better and better in that aspect.
Metcalf had maybe one of the best defensive games anybody will in the SEC this year with his Defensive Player of the Week award this past weekend. Last 2 weekends with Jaden Johnson and Danico Slaughter has been a little bit up and down. I've always liked Johnson. I think Slaughter brings a lot of energy to the position. But, I mean, these are 3 of the 4 leading tacklers on the team, and they're playing safety, maybe getting Hudson Clark back. I mean, this is such an incredibly important position overall, and specifically to this team right now, Alyssa.
Yeah, I think so. And Sam even said, Jalen Braxton is a possibility to come back against A&M too, but you just got to tip your cap to those guys playing really well. I know Sam's talking about those 2 big mistakes, the little mistakes that the defense made, and Auburn took advantage of it, turned into points on Saturday. But this secondary is the best secondary we've seen from Arkansas in a really long time, and I think that there's room to get better. There was so much criticism about speed so many years. We got to recruit speed. We got to get faster. We have to be a little bit more athletic, and I think they finally got the guys in that can check all those boxes, and they're playing against top-notch talent and having some success. So it's those little itty-bitty things, like the little breakdowns here and there that Auburn took advantage of. You take those away, and I think that you can win a lot of ball games and you can shut a lot of people down, which is exciting to see on defense. And I know that those guys credit, Marcus Woodson specifically over there, just really kind of helping them get sound and know where they're supposed to be at certain times, and it's been really fun to watch.
All right, Alyssa, you know I'm a Landon Jackson fan, and I think you are too. And I'm proud of the way he's playing. He almost got him one last week, kind of overrun it. Does he finally get on the board this week at A&M and get his first sack of the season?
I hope so. Let's say yes. And put those good vibes out there, because I saw exactly the play that you're talking about, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, oh my God, like you hated it because he was right there, and then it just slipped right through his fingers. I mean, they have just continued. They need to continue to get better up there on that defensive line. But Landon Jackson's going to kind of have a breakthrough, and then I think once he gets that first few, he's finally going to be able to kind of like a domino effect. But he's got to get it going. He just needs to find some success, and I think he does against Texas A&M. We're just going to put it out there in the universe.
I like it.
Is success on 3rd and long something that's sustainable? That's how they beat Auburn, 3rd and long, and got, you could say lucky a couple times because of roughing the passer and pass interference, but penalties happen in football games. I just don't know if it's sustainable to win games on 3rd and 10, 3rd and 13, 3rd and 19. I mean, that's where they may be the strongest offensively sometimes. Certainly this past Saturday they were.
Yeah, well, I think if you go back to the Oklahoma State game, you look at all of the down and distances that they converted there to keep drives alive. And I think when I remember talking about that a couple weeks ago, if I might have counted 8 different times where it was a 3rd down or a 2nd down with over 7 yards, and they converted all of them. I mean, there was that one huge 2nd and 17 against Oklahoma State. I don't necessarily think that you can rely on that, Phil, but I think the fact that you know that even if you're behind the sticks on 3rd down or 2nd down, you've got the confidence now to know that you've got plays where you can convert because they've been able to do it. There's not pressure on, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, and they don't have any success converting. And then that starts to kind of mess with you mentally. If anything, this team knows that they can do it. I wouldn't say do it every time, but the confidence is there. And I think that's maybe what matters the most, instead of not necessarily being able to sustain it, but knowing that you can do it if you need to do it. It's good to see now, and hopefully it'll come into play continuing as we get into SEC play a little bit more.
Well, and speaking of confidence, what about number 5? Does he still have confidence? Do you keep trotting him out there? Does Satania start getting his reps? Where does how do you see number 5's play continuing on? Because it's been kind of hard to watch.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you something, guys. So, and I hate this because you want Tyrone Broden to have success, but I was walking down on the field in the 4th quarter at Auburn. And, of course, you got to walk kind of in between the hedges there behind the bench to get to the other side. And as I'm walking, the wide receivers are all sitting on a bench underneath an awning, and Tyrone Broden is the only player with his helmet on. And a guy comes over and tries to give him a high five, and he just doesn't. He doesn't high five. I think he's just in a really bad mental state, and I hate it for him because they keep targeting him, because you just got to catch the ball once, right? You just got to see some success to get a little bit going, but he's had targets now over 2 games, and he hasn't had a catch, and I think he mentally is struggling with that. The minute that game was over, there were 3 guys who walked straight to the locker room, and Tyrone Broden was one of them. They didn't go out and shake hands afterwards, and so, it breaks your heart because you want to see him have success, but he has got to find a way to kind of get outside the 6 inches between the ears and figure out how to get that confidence back, because he has got to be that second weapon behind Andrew Armstrong. That's what he's here for. So I hope that he can break out of it, but I'm worried that if he doesn't, you start giving it to Satania, or, I don't even know, do you get to a point where Tesla's out there a little bit more? They have to get Luke Haas going, but Monte Harrison, why not? See what he can go and do out there. If we just can't get Broden going, they've got to do something else.
Alyssa, when we talk again next week, it's going to be baseball playoff time, and your Dodgers will be in a good position. Robert called up a couple days ago, and I don't think he has any, or I think it was Friday he called up about it. I don't think he had much faith that his team is going to advance. But, every year you just know the Dodgers are going to make it to the playoffs. You just never know if they're going to go all the way. What do you think?
I hope so. Man, I'm always a optimist when it comes to that. Hey, I was sitting in Gasano's on Sunday, and they were down by 1 against the Rockies, and they had the top of the lineup up on the bottom of the 9th, and I watched Shohei Ohtani hit his 53rd home run, and then Mookie Betts followed up with another home run, and they walked it off in the bottom of the 9th, and so I believe in anything, Phil.
That's good. You sound like a fan who's ready to believe. Someday maybe you'll teach me how to do that with my major league team, okay?
That's okay. I'm a Dolphins fan. I still get brought back down to earth on Sunday.
Apparently they had a strip show on the field in the Dolphins this last week. So you got that going for you, too. Yeah. Alyssa, thanks for coming on. Appreciate you.
Guys, thank you. Have a good one.
Thanks, Alyssa.
Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.